Maniacs, mummies and the macabre, welcome to your weekly dose of horror news and fun. This is episode 22 of TerrorVision Horror Podcast. I'm your host, Dan McGuinness, and joining me as always is my co-host, Jennifer, the Dream Warrior Strand. Together we are two people with a love of horror and feel the burn of our obsolete blockbuster memberships. You can catch us weekly on all major podcasting services and on the YouTube. Jen, how's your week been after that bumbling intro?
Dan, I'm looking at you.
I know.
I'm looking at you the first time we have been in the same room together.
We are. We're in the Hack the Dino studio at the moment.
Insane.
I know. We're finally looking at each other eye to eye. We can talk about films, which is just like a normal day, really.
That's right. It's just instead of having a counter in between us.
True.
My week's been hectic. You know, it's school holidays, so youths everywhere. Aside from that, the toy fair is happening on Monday, so prepping for that one. Unfortunately, my life is just basically a storage room, so I'm trying to find all this stuff which is everywhere, and then finding the time to do that. So
yeah, I'm also getting ready for the old toy fair, comic and toy fair.
Yep.
I have I have to get all the shop ready, get all the stuff in, inventory it, get it, and then get it there, and then be there on the day. And I'm like, and then try and have fun. And it's just like that takes all the fun out of it.
It does, doesn't it? Yes. And then I'll be taking Liz, so then I need a babysitter for her, because every time she leaves the booth, she comes back with something.
With like $400 worth of Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Not quite Yu-Gi-Oh. But as I was unpacking some stuff yesterday, I'm like, what the hell? I found some Star Wars figure that she'd randomly picked up last Toy Fair for like $2.
And she'd never ever played with it again?
Never ever played with it. It's just sitting in a box since the last Toy Fair. So.
I'll put you in the memory box. What are those things called that you get the chest and it's got all your, when you're 21 or something, you get like a chest,
Oh, yeah. I don't know what that's called.
Like a rug in there or something? I don't know what it is.
Put a rug in there.
So that's all you've been doing? Yeah, I haven't been doing much. I did get it. I got a, it's all secret and hush-hush at the moment, but I may have picked up another book series for my drawing stuff. I can't really talk about much of that until... And also, you don't want to talk about it in case it all falls through, because these deals often do.
That's fair.
But I'll alert people once that is more on the way. But I've been doing that, like drawing pre-LM pictures and sending them to publishers and stuff like that. But yeah,
that's
secret
super
works.
Exciting.
But we should get straight on to our homework. Yes, every week Jennifer and I set ourselves 2 horror movies to watch and then review them together the following week. And we have a crazy or no rules Pepsi generation rating system. Jen, do you want to go through our rating system?
Definitely. All right. So we have A, which is awesome. Everybody should watch. B is a beer and chicken wing group movie. F is for fun and dumb. We have the C, which is a classic that's worth a watch. G is good for its time but has not held up. We've got a J, which is a Jen special, a D, a Dan special. We've got a W for a whatever. We've got an S for a shit, avoid. And then once again, thank you, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Next Generation. We have the double F, which is the fucking fucked. Fucked.
That's for you, Zellweger. McConaughey. That's what you get. So our first movie that we did this week was The Fly from 1986. Director David Cronenberg, old mate Chrono.
Oh, Chronos.
Chronboss. And then screenplay by Charles Edward Pogue. How good is that name?
That's pretty good.
An Irish singer, man.
He sounds like he belongs in an 80s punk band.
That's true. Well,
yeah.
And David Cronenberg, apparently. Starring good old Jeff Goldblum. We know him from everything.
Yeah, literally everything.
We know him from the internet.
We do. Sexy Goldblum.
And Gina Davis from, Beetlejuice, Thelma and Louise, League of Their Own, all those movies from a time period.
Yes, she's also a part of Mensa because she's insanely smart.
What's Mensa?
So it's like a group for the people with high IQs.
Oh, really? She should have been able to solve Brundlefly's problems then.
Right.
Instead of his crazy button talk computer.
So high tech.
movie had a budget of 9 to 15 million.
Yeah, it was about
know.
between $9 and $15 million this film was budgeted as, and it then grossed 60.6 million at the US box office.
So we're calling this one a success.
This is a success.
I'm wondering if all Cronenberg's films, maybe. I don't think he really does things that aren't good. I can't think of anything that's been like a wah.
I don't think so. I mean, most of his films are really good, but I think this is his first and only real mainstream kind of movie.
Yeah, it could be. Mainstream. I mean, Videodrome.
I mean, I wouldn't really consider Videodrome to be mainstream, but this is his first, like, big budget sort of Hollywood film.
Real actors.
Yeah.
Not cardboard cutouts.
No.
But anyhow, so, you want to do the beautiful synopsis?
Oh, I love my synopsis. Be afraid, be very afraid. When Seth Brundle makes a huge scientific and technological breakthrough in teleportation, he decides to test it on himself. Unbeknownst to him, a common housefly manages to get inside the device and the two become one, just like the Spice Girls.
Yeah. It's a marriage made in heaven.
It is, yeah.
Mr. Fly. Have you seen the original Fly?
I have, and I really wanted to give it a rewatch because I haven't seen it in years, so I wanted to give it a rewatch before we watch this, but I just didn't have the time.
It's one of those films that I got shown to as a kid, and it's only got like 5 minutes of payoff in it.
Pretty much. Like, you can pretty much just go and watch that Simpsons episode where they do it, because they basically recreate it in an episode of The Simpsons.
Like all the best bits.
Yeah. That's pretty much.
Because doesn't he wear, like, he's got a fly head, but doesn't he wear like a cloth over his head for most of the film? Like,
he
just
does.
it's just like, can't be bothered putting the thing on today.
It's like, we couldn't quite, the special effects guy couldn't come in today. He's like on traffic, so let's just chuck this over there, it'll be fine.
It's this Voorhees bag his head.
Yeah.
Like, don't even bother having anything under there. Yeah, and then it's got like the little bit at the end, like, because the whole film is just a retelling of what happened from the perspective of the lady, isn't it, to a policeman?
Yeah.
If I remember. And then at the end, he's like sitting there on the seat, and out of all the flies in New York, it just so happens the fly with the human head is next to him going, help me.
I know, it's just that one little bit.
Anyhow, so straight away, this movie starts. Heavy, bold music as soon as it starts. Big, round, bold, that real doomy kind of Hellraiser-y kind of music.
Yeah, so I feel that this orchestral kind of soundtrack means that it's a grown-up film. While most of the other 80s films have like this cool synth wave, it still feels very, I wouldn't say juvenile, but immature kind of music to it. It's fun. This is setting us up for, this is not going to be fun.
Yeah, it's definitely like you have stepped into the adult world. Like, yeah, and like I said, you get that with Hellraiser. There's nothing in Hellraiser that is like funny. Yeah. Like, and it has a like, this is like the feeling you're gonna get is dread from now on and disgust.
Oh yeah.
Not any like beer and chicken wings. No beer and chicken wings in this film.
No, there's not. There was a lot of questions. I had to answer a lot of questions last night while we were watching it.
Oh, with Liz?
Yeah.
She's like, well, why?
It's just a lot of like weird questions. Like, if he went in with a fly and a person, would that person outweigh the fly, or would they become like a 3-fly? And I'm like, well, that they're going to answer that at the end of the film. And then, but what is like, is that how Louis the Fly came about?
No.
I'm like, well,
He's made of plasticine.
Louis the Fly is a cartoon for one. She's like, that's beside the point.
Yeah. Well, they have you heard about I went back and watched the remove scene. Have you seen that? Like,
no.
So there was a big, in the original cut, whatever, the screening one they show audiences at the start. There's a scene where he, as he's all mutant, which we'll get into later, there's a scene where he's by himself and he gets a bloody another baboon. And he puts a cat in one of them and a baboon in the other one and fuses them together. Yeah. And then it comes out and it's gross and he beats it to death with a pole and no one liked that scene because like they're like,
I don't like that scene.
How can we be sympathetic to a guy that's beating a cat monkey?
Yeah, that's true.
And I went back and watched that scene. I'm like, yeah, they should have taken it out. Number one, it didn't look very good.
Okay.
So it looked like he was just beating on a Muppet, like with a pole.
Look.
And yeah, it was a good thing to take out. But,
okay.
But it is on YouTube if you want to watch it. You just try The Fly Cat Monkey, which is what I did. Anyhow, straight into a party scene. Like an 80s business, art. Is it an art exhibition? No, it's a
It's a science exhibition.
Science meeting?
Yeah.
Science meeting. And then you're introduced to Goldblum's character, which is what's his name? Seth Brundle. And he is just ex-book Goldblum in this film.
Oh, yeah.
Like, more Goldblum than Goldblum. Like, more than Jurassic Park.
Yes. So this is throughout all my notes are basically like, so not only did we have the evolution of him becoming Brundlefly, we've got the evolution of Goldblum.
Yeah.
So in my notes, it's like, so we've got, awkward Goldblum. And then it moves on. And then we will progress throughout the rest.
Yeah, well, it's because he plays an eccentric scientist, which is basically giving him, or in his acting skills that he has, it gives him the push he needs to create the Goldblum that we know today. And I reckon the Fly is the reason why we have Goldblum as
probably.
that crazy guy in Thor Ragnarok. He's basically, that's what happened to him.
That's what happens.
After you turn into a full fly, you go to that planet. Your soul that's taken out. Yeah, and then we've got so he talks to Beetlejuice lady. What is her name?
Gina
Veronica.
Davis. Yep.
And he woos her back to his apartment with the
with science.
Yeah, with the promise of science.
Yes.
And he's like, look at my pods. They're teleportation pods. Have you got anything that is strictly you? And she gives him his stocking.
Yeah,
her stocking. And I was like, that's weird.
Like, why don't you just give him a shoe?
Or something out your purse, or just something that
give him your purse.
Yeah, your diary, or something that you've write something on a bit of paper. Yeah, I know, and there's a weird, sexy kind of like
you're like
stocking ad, because remember when stockings were relevant?
Yeah, where they have? Yeah, no, they really were.
There was heaps of like stocking ads when I was growing up. Have you ever seen this? When was the last time you saw a stocking ad?
I can't remember the last time I saw an ad.
That's true. Oh, Netflix.
TV. I don't watch TV.
Or what about podcasts? All those Squarespace.
Oh my god. Yeah.
All these weird companies I know about that I can't use because they're American.
Right,
stuff.
like Casper mattresses, I think, is one of the main ones.
Manscaper for doing your man bits, which actually I saw the other day. My business partner Nick had he ordered stuff to the shop, and a Manscaper kit came.
Sure.
I'm like, later on, how's your balls going? Good.
He's like, they're scaped.
Yeah.
Manscaped.
So he invites his lady back.
Yes.
Wooing her with science, not knowing that she's a journalist.
No. No, she says that she's a journalist because she's there to interview people, and he's like, no, you need to talk to me.
So is that just a mistake? Because he was like, oh, no, I didn't want a journalist coming here. And I'm like, so what did you want?
Well, I don't think he wanted to talk about, he was clearly interested in her and wanted her to come back. Yeah, and he was using science to woo her. So I think it wasn't about the story and wasn't about, anything like that. But then once he realized that, oh, she's not here because she's interested in my science. She's here because she wants a story. Yeah. And he wasn't ready for that.
Off it. Yeah, he didn't want his science
freaking
to be,
out.
Edge of the world yet. It wasn't finished. And it really wasn't finished.
No.
Do you know what did look good? The pods look wicked.
They did.
I'm still just those pods are just so iconic. Mainly because the movie cover that I grew up with is the pod with the human arm and the bug leg coming out, which never happened.
No.
Which is one of those great lies, cover lies. Then we're introduced to the best character. I didn't bother learning his name. I've just called him Beard Boss.
His name is Stathis, and yes, he is a he's a bit of a dick.
Straight away, bad vibes I got from this character.
Yes.
And I've written this because I couldn't remember what happened in this film. I hadn't watched it in a while. And so I was just like, Beard Boss, don't like you. You're a bit of a dickhead. You don't believe it. Her story. You're fobbing her off.
Have you seen Don't Tell Mum the Babysitter's Dead?
Yeah.
So he plays the smarmy guy in that.
He's a smarm actor.
He plays that smarm dick kind of guy.
Have you noticed back in this time, the people who are like that always have beards, like Walter Peck from Ghostbusters, and they all those dudes.
They all look the same.
They all have a beard.
Yeah, they all probably be the same. And they're slightly ginger too.
They all have high school teacher look that would sleep with their students person.
Yes.
Given the opportunity arose.
Yeah, definitely.
So we're introduced to Beard Boss, which I'm still going to call him that no matter what.
Sure.
Then we will move on to Goldblum hitting on Veronica, wooing her with a cheeseburger.
Well, that's how you just woo every girl.
Yeah, takes her to the cheeseburger shop.
Nice.
And then we're introduced to, she goes home and Beard Boss
Is having a shower.
is having a shower at her house.
Just hanging out, showering.
And she gets all angry, and then you find out that Beard Boss is her ex.
They're ex-lovers.
And he's a dickhead in this scene. She's like, how'd you get in? I've got a key. She goes, I want my key back. And he goes, no, I'm going to keep it. And I'm like, what does that imply?
No. Did you notice that the dialogue, I felt that the dialogue still had that very sort of 1950s banter to it.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really like a conversation that you would have had in the 80s. It did feel very 50s scripted in a film. Like if this was like roles reversed and you'd have put the exact same like conversation into a 1950s romantic comedy, it still would have fit.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Do you reckon that's because it's a lot of it is lifted or inspired by the original Fly from Cronenberg, and he wanted to keep that vibe of like how they talk in the 50s.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
When there's no there's no pausing in between
Yeah.
answers because people are just reading their lines and they instantly start. It's like, how are you? Good. Why? I don't know. Let's go. Bye. That's a conversation in the 50s.
That is hell, yeah. So, I mean, because there was a lot of sort of little 50s references throughout the film that I noticed, especially as the film goes later on. So this one was the first one that really jumped out to me. And I know that a lot of the people that were involved in making the film were very sort of, well, I love the original, like, please let us make this. We'll basically do justice by it. So I think there was still a few little bits and pieces in. Is the one fun fact is Mel freaking Brooks is one of the producers.
Really?
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
What does that say about this film?
I don't know. Like, Mel Brooks he's a comedy guy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's not a sci-fi Cronenbergian kind of guy.
There was a bit of comedy in there, but I feel that was just what Goldblum brought to the role. That's just how he delivered lines, and his whole persona of like the nonchalantness of Charlotte. What is that word now?
Nonchalance.
Yeah, now that's a Charlotte. I'm like,
Charlotte's nonchalance.
No Charlottes.
No.
Of his like how he takes the fact that he's like falling apart. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because he's more about the science. So Veronica decides that she is going to document, not do a story on him, but document it through video and then write a book about it. And she's like, so this is a ticket. This is a train ticket straight to journalistic.
Yeah, this is her ticket out of Particle magazine.
The ticket away from Beard Boss.
Yes.
And get rid of him because it's not her ex is your boss. Can't go good.
No.
So they do a test. Their first, teleportation test on video. What do you start with when you're doing a test? Let's do a giant baboon.
Why not?
Bugger trying it on mice or insects.
No.
Or anything. Where does one get a baboon from?
Well, I'm sure there's a science place just downtown where they have all your science goodies. So
Science
you can
Animals Inc.
Yeah, so that's where you can get your baboons and your, science rhinoceri and
like
mice and bunnies.
Mice, bunnies, those spider monkeys are often in the old cages.
Yes.
And then you move up. I suppose the final is like your chimpanzee, which is the closest to a human. Mm-hmm. Maybe we should get sponsored by Science Pets. Science Pals.
Yeah.
FurrySciencePals.com.
Your pals for science.
Yeah. So they start with the baboon, and of course it goes across because he mentions this earlier, he can only do inanimate objects.
Yes.
He can't do living things. So he, for some reason, even though he knows this, he still does it again anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, baboon turns inside out. Through the teleportation process, he doesn't get recombobulated back together properly. And I thought the inside out baboon looked really good. It was like
I was like a little bit sad about. I'm like, oh.
The worst thing is these things are all still perfectly alive when this happens. When they get remade, so they're not like, which would usually kill you because if you get turned inside out, but because it's just built, you still functioning, but inside out, so you're a fucking mess.
I mean, was it really inside out? There was just no flesh.
No, it was inside out. There was all organs on the outside.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Yeah, so
it looked cool.
Straight away you're like, oh yeah, I'm in for something here. This is this is not only is interesting because it's science. It's also, which is the same as Reanimator here. We've got another science monster, as in like the true baddie was science again. Is that right? No, it was Beard Boss. So then we get introduced to the first of many scenes of Seth Goldblum not having a shirt on.
Yes.
Which he just has for the rest of the film. I was like, you're pretty fit for a dude who doesn't get out in quotes and is a scientist in quotes. Like,
I mean, he was meant to become slightly, so he was like the Spider-Man transformation. So he was kind of like, just normal science guy, and then he goes through the teleportation and just sort of becomes buff.
Yeah, but he was buff before.
But he was really buff before.
They should have really not shown him without a shirt before the teleportation, and maybe hunched him over a bit, made him look like, because I thought that straight away. I was like, oh, pretty, because we get sex scenes straight away. She just falls for Goldblum.
Yeah, well,
as you would.
It's Goldblum.
It is, yeah. Although we know Goldblum now, right? And everyone loves Goldblum, but do you think he was the sex symbol back then?
No, I don't think sex symbol Goldblum came into play until Jurassic Park.
Yeah, after Jurassic Park as well. I think it needed to, you had to sit on it for a couple of years and think about Goldblum, the shirt. But it once again, it's shirtless Goldblum, and there's a bit in this film, where he just goes out with just a jacket.
Yeah, because that's what I do.
Gross. We move on to the next morning. He has like a brainwave. He's like,
yes.
Hang on, let's do an experiment. And they teleport some steaks, and then they work out that when they eat the teleporter steak, it's gross.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite get what was his idea that he got from that. What was the reasoning? It was weird. It was like, you remember? It was like,
so the conversation. The little bit that like clicked his brain over was after they'd finished, boning, having science sex, she's talking about how his flesh drives her crazy. And then the little light bulb pops and he's like, that's what it is. Like it's synthetic because the computer doesn't understand flesh. And then we go into because, Cronenberg, he's so big into the idea of the flesh.
Yeah.
So he's talking about okay, well, I need to teach the computer to
be excited
about flesh because we're excited about flesh for some reason.
So they basically use just a non-scientific, totally out there vibe to solve their problem. So no science people could hit them up and go, hang on, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So he has to, so we basically put it in the air like, I have to teach it to love.
Yeah, pretty much, which you don't want to teach a computer to do that. So that's when he's talking it, so he transports the steak and then, she's like, oh, it tastes synthetic. Also, I'm pretty certain it doesn't just taste synthetic. It's got remnants of baboon on it.
Oh, yeah.
Because,
she did mention that.
Yeah. So that's where he starts explaining, the flesh. I've got to teach it about the flesh.
So he does he works out, he teaches the computer to love. And then once again, he has another baboon. I'm like, where are you getting the baboon?
Like that he's talking to the baboon like they're good mates. And the baboon's just sitting there. Now, baboons are wild animals, and they did say that this creature was difficult to work with. Because it's a wild creature.
Yeah,
you can't necessarily train a baboon. And even if you do, it's kind of like those tigers that tore the magicians apart.
Yeah, I thought that straight away because I was like, isn't that the scariest monkey?
It was terrifying.
As in, when you think of, the worst monkeys, so he's a baboon. Remember in Ren and Stimpy? There's no dog, but there's a baboon. And I thought, why?
Why baboon? It was an interesting choice. And the scenes where it was just basically him with the baboon, it was okay. He worked really well and the baboon worked really well with him because he was so buff that it just thought of him as the alpha.
Oh.
So there were no real issues with them, but I think offset, they had a lot of trouble with him.
I just wouldn't. Maybe props department is like, we've got a whole bunch of fake baboons. If you can make it a baboon, we don't have to make any more monkeys. And
what is it in Jay and Silent Bob? Like Critters of Hollywood?
Yeah. But so he works it out. He teleports baboon. It works. Hooray!
Does he teleport the baboon?
Yeah. They had that scene where, like, they're filming it and then the baboon, jumps out of the smoke and hugs him.
That's right, yeah.
And I was like, don't hug a
Such
baboon.
a nice scene. I'm like, it could rip your face off at any moment, but this is nice. They're just having a cuddle.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like, why the baboon would even cuddle a man?
Well,
I don't know,
maybe
it's weird, you know what I mean?
it was a lady baboon.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and he wasn't wearing a shirt.
It saw him as a... I dig your science there, buddy.
Yeah. Well, the baboon had been around a lot of science with him, and that's how he gets women. As we've seen, Veronica fell for it. Maybe Lady Baboon was like sick.
Yeah.
And maybe that's
Right.
why Lady Baboon was so difficult with the Veronica character offset, because it's
Yeah.
gonna get you, bitch.
I'm a baboon.
Then Goldblum, she's just like, she's still having problems with Beard Boss.
Yeah.
Beard Boss is hassling
he's
her.
stalking.
He's trying to like steal her story. He's not even trying to steal her story. He's just threatening to steal her story
Yeah.
if she doesn't
Comply.
get back with him.
Yeah.
And it's just like all Beard Boss's like kind of, techniques to get a woman back are so bad. It's just like,
Yeah.
you're gonna blackmail her, threaten her, stalk her. I'm like, where? I suppose that's just how stalkers work, aren't they? They just
Pretty much, yeah.
They never think that that's the bad thing. They don't think about themselves, what they're doing. They just think about the end result, and the person they're stalking is nice.
Yeah, because even at one point, and he's talking to her about the relationship, and he's like, I don't necessarily want romance from you. I just want to have sex with you.
Yeah, it's gross.
So, but it's like, okay, are you just saying that because on some weird level he does care for her? It's just clouded by insanity.
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah, it was very weird.
He's a weirdo. And so then Seth Goldblum gets jealous, gets drunk.
Oh yeah.
He decides he's going to teleport himself without her.
Well, I mean, he talked to the baboon about it, so it's totally fine.
He did.
Yeah.
He did coerce with the baboon and got the A-OK approval of the baboon.
Why not?
And he teleports himself, and lo and behold, we as a viewer see there is a fly.
No, not the fly.
There's a fly in
Shenanigans.
I know.
Shenanigans.
There is a fly in the teleportation booth, and it gets teleported across, but he's fine. And there's a computer. The computer is quite smart, this computer. It's like one of those, that's not a real computer kind of thing. It like goes, fly. I'm just going to, what is it? Like fusion of fly into death.
Yeah.
And he's fine.
Yeah.
And what's the little fly going to do? Apparently a lot later on.
A lot.
Anyhow, he starts to get better. He's like, I feel great. He starts to eat a lot of sugar.
Yes, now we enter the phase of hyperactive Goldblum.
Hyperactive Goldblum, the metamorphosis stage of not the unbeknownst to him, he is slowly changing. But he just thinks it's a side effect of the teleportation, that when it rebuilt him
better,
purer and stuff like that. So he's like, oh yeah, all my cells are clean, stuff like that. He can suddenly do really good gym.
Yes.
He does a whole bunch of...
his technique is amazing for someone who has never done gym.
I know. That's what I thought. Wow, even if you were that strong, you still know how to do that stuff. But then again, he has fly genes, and flies can do stuff.
They can. But yeah, so it's kind of like, was it in Spider-Man? Again, I'm back to Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Spooderman, where he's like doing all these things and he's just got all these powers, but he's breaking everything around him. Like, I feel that probably could have been better. Like, everything's sort of stuck to him. He's like, oh, shit.
Yeah. They more went in this with the growth, though, that like his skin was just leaking white, like mucus.
Yeah.
Which is probably better for the horror film. It was
definitely
kind of gross. Then we got the old, like, straight away, something's wrong because they really subtly just put in his skin just starts to get a bit grosser. And I'm like, oh, yuck.
Yep, so he starts to get these little hairs.
Hairs on his back from
back.
a cut that he had. They start growing out of it.
Yeah.
And, and then we get a full undies scene of him just in his, like, little white budgie smugglers.
Tidy whitey Goldblum right there.
And that's like a full Goldblum package outline as well. Like, so you get the whole bit there. Him looking gross, though. starting to look gross, but you still get still. He decides to go out. You know, he's getting frustrated with like Veronica. He's acting irrationally. He decides to go out.
Yeah.
But he also forgets to wear a shirt.
Yes.
Again.
Well, he's got his new jacket on, so it's okay.
He goes out in slacks.
Yeah.
Slacks, no shirt, and a brown leather jacket, which is like, God.
Choices were made.
Goes to a bar.
Fashion.
Challenges some thugs to
arm wrestling.
An arm wrestling contest and if he wins, he gets to sleep with some girl. He's gone full animal fly instinct now.
It kind of looked like a meth addict anyway.
Yeah. Everyone looked like a meth addict. He starts to look like a meth addict as well, like a lot of this. So maybe she was just like sick and then just got some extras.
Right?
yeah, fucking.
Gonna get the meth.
Yeah. And he has an arm wrestle with this guy. And what happens?
Oh, it's so nice. He's fucking, they're there. It's intense. It's a little bit of man grunting and then snap. The guy's arm just breaks and the bone comes out and just,
compound fractures.
Screaming and
breaking skin, compound fracture the whole way home. You always knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
From like the get-go, this is a horror movie that wants to gross you out. And people just don't like compound fractures. They think they're gross.
They are gross.
So, like what was in the other one? We watched in From Beyond, when she jumps out the window, it's like the worst one you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And she just shrugs it off.
No, it's fine. I just walk it off. Rub a little bit of dirt on it. Keep going. It's fine.
I can see my shin. Rub some dirt on it. So we've got hard mood swings. He's like changing. He's obviously changing. And then suddenly fingernails start coming out. And this is like where you're like, okay, this is the body horror section of the film, and then which is pretty much 60% of this film is like body horror gross shit.
It's true. This film does two things that I do not like. I will watch many a thing. Two things I do not like watching. I don't like watching anything with nails, and I don't like watching anything with teeth.
Oh well, you get
I got fucked over this week.
The fingernails dropping out. He's teeth are
squeezing them, and there's like all the pus is coming out as well. Like whatever that is, like fly wise,
fingers,
it's fly goo.
Do flies do that? I think they do that thing where they kind of like their feet stuff comes out, gross stuff like that. His ears start falling off. He keeps a cupboard of shit.
It's like his Brundle Natural Museum.
Yeah,
or something.
I think there's a dick in there you can see as well, like in one of the. In one of the
I missed that
in the medicine cabinet.
Damn, I'm sad.
And finally he works out. He's like, computer, what's going on? And he works out that I don't know how the computer worked it out. It didn't make any sense.
No.
It like kept zooming in, and all of a sudden it was a fly's face.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, fine. He's worked out there's a fly in him. It's once again the computer. The computer science in this film does not hold up. But
well, no, none of it does. But I'm not a scientist, so I'm like, well, this probably could happen because I don't know science.
Anyhow, so he's fucked. He's starting to fuck up. Veronica visits him. She's like, fuck, you're gross. You're like, this is fucked. You need some help. So who do you go to when you need some help? You go to your stalker. I'm like, why the fuck is she bringing Beard Boss back into the fray? Like, he doesn't need to be here.
No.
Like, you don't like him.
He's the closest person to her that kind of knows what's happening because he's been following her. He knows what's going on, and he doesn't like this guy, so he's going to be coming in at a level of energy that she needs to help her get through this.
I was like, fuck Beard Boss off. He's a dickhead.
He is a dickhead, but he does kind of redeem himself at the end.
True. They do the wicked. So as Steph is transforming, he gets to a stage where he kind of feels better. Like he's shed a lot of the shit he doesn't need, and he's like, oh, I feel great, and he starts walking up the walls and the ceiling. And they've just done that. The old, camera stuck in the room must have turned around, but they've done it in a really big scale, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
One of my favourite movie tricks. I think it's such a good trick, eh?
Yeah.
They should do it more in films these days, and maybe it just costs heaps of money. But no. Yeah, maybe.
Would it cost more to do CGI? I don't know.
I don't know these days.
I don't make films.
And then Veronica finds out, she's like, fuck, gross. He's gross. Oh, shit, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, right.
With his baby.
Oh, yeah. We had some conversations about that one as well last night. Like, is she just going to birth a fly baby?
Well, she has a dream where she has
the dream.
she births a maggot,
Yes.
a giant maggot, and that's pretty gross. I was just like...
Doctor, also played by David Cronenberg.
Yes.
Yes.
Cronenberg likes to...
Insert himself.
Put himself in there. So she... And I was like, just watching like... Abort, baby. I mean, I'm all for... it's your choice. Get it out. Like, you don't know. It's going to... If you've got even the slightest inkling that you have a monster baby, just get rid of it.
Just... Yeah.
But it might have been... I realised that they had to go to, like, backwater doctors. Maybe there was no... Like, when this film was made, there was no abortion clinic.
Well, I think it wasn't necessarily... Because it was in the middle of the night. And she's, like, freaked out. She's found out she's pregnant. And he's just like... well, what are we going to do? She's like, I need it out of me now.
Yeah, so Beard Boss...
He's like, I don't know if I can make it... She's like, it needs to happen now. So she couldn't have waited until, the morning to go to, your local clinic. They had to do it now, so they've like called in a favor and they're making it happen.
Yeah.
And then of course she's sitting there and she's all prepared, and who overheard such conversation? The Brundlefly. Without his ears.
He names himself Brundlefly. So he's not Seth Brundle anymore. He's now Brundlefly.
It's Brundlefly.
And he's talking in the third person, which clearly means that you've gone crazy.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
He overhears, even though, he said he's got no ears.
Yeah.
He overhears the conversation. He bursts into the abortion clinic, steals Veronica, and fucks off home with her.
Yeah. In a very 19 sort of, that's again, a little bit 1950s where the monster comes and steals the girl.
Heroin.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And for some reason, Beard Boss kind of steps up. Like, fuck. Gotta save Veronica. Maybe it's just his stalker in him, like, really kicking in.
Like, no. She's my victim. She's going to be in my basement in the future. Not yours.
Exactly.
Not yours.
Her head's going to be in my freezer. So he obviously, he gets a gun. The shotgun gets put into the mix. I'm like, nice. The Beard Boss ends up being the protagonist right now. Yeah. So now Brundlefly is turned into the monster. Veronica's turned into the woman that's been kidnapped that needs saving, which is great.
Well, they have that weird conversation about fly politics as well.
Insect politics.
So there are no insect politics. He's basically like, I will hurt you.
Yeah. But he also wants to be president, prime minister.
Yeah. So I'm like, yes, crazy.
He's gone crazy.
You are crazy.
He decides that the best thing to do is for him, her, and the unborn baby to fuse together and to become one being.
Yes.
Clearly, crazy mind. He's lost it now. Like, that's a terrible idea. But even him to do to him.
I can't imagine what that's going to look like.
It would look amazing.
It would.
He puts her into the pod.
Yes.
And it starts. But then Beard Boss bursts in, and Beard Boss is hopeless at this. He could have just shot him straight away, but no. Beard Boss lets Brundlefly go up to him, and he vomits on Beard Boss's hand and melts his hand. That's
so good. It kind of looks like the guy at the Ark of the Covenant where his face melts.
Yeah, at the end of Ark, right as it was
so good.
Yeah, so they've obviously made a wax hand or whatever, and heated it and melted it down. And his hand's getting fucked up, and then he vomits on his ankle. His whole ankle burns off, so he's got no hand now, he's got no foot. He's going into shock. He's gone into shock. He's out. You're
kind of like, look, you had a redeeming moment, and you're fucking useless.
Yeah, but Beard Boss... He comes in.
He does.
He steps up.
He does.
Anyway, he's Veronica then. Oh, that's fucked. He goes to grab him, push him away, and his jaw comes off.
I loved that scene.
And then you go through the full transformation where you see the fly within himself burst out of his skin, and the legs bend back into the fly leg. Every part of this is so Cronenberg and great. He really went all out with this. Fly slowly bursting out, like chunks of flesh are flopping to the floor.
Flopping to the floor.
Big chunks and meats everywhere. It's just great. It's great, and the fly itself looks great.
It does.
It's gross. It's fly-esque. I thought to myself, is there going to be another transformation later on if it's left alone? Like, could this be? It didn't have any wings.
No, there was no wings, so
might have still been like.
Yeah.
I don't understand though why. If you really think about this and want to step back with the science, why the tiniest little molecule of a fly is the dominant
Yes.
overriding genetic
This was a
material
question that we had.
Yeah, that somehow got... Because the original one, it was just like, it was a straight swap.
Yes. Fly head, human body, human head, fly body.
Yeah.
Story done.
Done. Yeah, it makes science sense, even for the 50s. Like, it's a swap. And it's just like, but this is like...
I would have liked to have seen the reverse transformation, so the little fly become a human.
Maybe there's a little tiny Goldblum.
Right.
We never thought of that, because that fly could have flown away, and that's how you survive. You just turn into a tiny human. What is that, like a centimetre high?
Yeah.
Would be better if the world did that. If we could all shrink.
Yeah.
Even if we could shrink to like 1 foot high, I feel the world would be a better place. Just because we'd have no food shortages. Even like smaller. Go 20 centimetres high.
20 centimetres?
The world, imagine 20 centimetres high. 1 tomato.
Done. I feel that there is a movie that does that, but it's not
The Littles, that cartoon.
No.
Arrietty.
No, it's got Matt Damon. Matt Damon's in it.
Oh, yeah, I did watch that. It's like Littleville or something. Oh, what's it called? Where, it's like you go to a community of small people and...
You just become teeny tiny.
Yeah, it actually just says, like, your house doesn't cost anything, like, because your house is just a model. Like, and like how much money you save. And they were... The money that you have for what it can buy makes you a millionaire. Like, even if you're just like... it's a good... Yeah, great film. But it doesn't work when there's people that don't shrink. No, everyone has to shrink.
It's like one or none.
Yeah. It's like the whole world just needs to shrink. I mean, there will be a period of adjustment.
Yeah, well, of course there would be.
We wouldn't be able to get out of our houses because our doors are big shut.
You just crawl under the door, you'll be right.
Yeah, you just need a mouse hole.
Yeah.
Fine. And then fight the mice.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think that happens. It happens in Doom Patrol as well. They all get shrunk down and they live on a train set for a while.
Sure.
And like the main character's so angry and he goes out at night and bashes mice to like get his anger out. It's amazing.
Well, that makes sense.
Got what I was talking about now. Oh, he's gone through the transformation. It's great. It's fucking he's going everything. He gets into the pod. The transformation's about to happen. They're about to fuse, but then Beard Boss comes out of nowhere, like shrugs off not having a hand, shrugs off not having a foot.
Stumpy leg.
Yeah, and he really just shows how devoted his stalkerism is. He picks up the shotgun and he shoots. I don't know how he knew how to do this. He shoots the cable that's linking Veronica's pod to the machine.
Yep.
And then like Fly goes, that's bull fucking shit, and he smashes out of his pod.
Yeah.
Just at the moment it happens, so he gets transported with a big chunk of the door.
Yes.
I thought it would have been better. It made more sense that he just would have got cut in half.
Yeah, that did make more sense to me because then we go to the next scene where he comes out fused
with the door.
And me yelling at the screen that he should have come out as Mecha Brundlefly. And like they missed an opportunity there. Like we could have had Mecha Brundlefly.
Yeah, like a big Ed 209 with just a fly face on the front of it.
Yeah.
Coming out, you have 20 seconds to fly. But yeah, they could have done it. But no, it was good. He came out and he turns into the wounded, sad creature. And it was kind of sad and gross.
It was.
He's had this, like, pretty much a downfall the whole film.
Because this has all happened over the span of, like...
A week?
A week. Like, imagine that.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot to take in.
It is, yeah. And he's like, got metal chunks coming out. He's crawling across the floor. There's wires dragging out of him. Veronica picks up the shotgun. Goes over to Beard Boss for like 4 seconds, worries about him for like 4 seconds, and just forgets him. I'm like, he is so wounded.
Yeah, he's
You
done.
need what? Number one, just call an ambulance.
Well, this
away.
is the thing, because, what happens next is it's between her and Brundlefly, and he's just laying there, and she's, she comes over, she's got the gun, and he kind of grabs it and just puts it up against his head.
Like, kill me.
Like,
suicide.
Kill
I'm
me.
fucked.
And she's like, I can't do it. And then...
What a pussy. Didn't even want to be a door.
He doesn't want to be a door.
Yeah, and then she's crying, and like she loves the fly mutant door creature more than Beard Boss.
Right? That's how bad he is. Like,
yeah, I know.
And then she pulls the trigger and just blows Brundlefly's head off.
Which is a great head explosion.
It is insanely
And you
good.
see it exploding out, and the body falls down, and the neck stump, when it hits the ground, looks weighted and fleshy. Like, it looks like it's made of meat and not rubber, and it's just like,
They
fuck
did
yeah, Cronenberg.
so well. And it's the same team that did Gremlins 2.
Oh,
Yeah.
no one. Because the gremlins look very fleshy and gross.
Yeah.
I wonder what their secret is. Porridge.
Probably. But then, of course, it's just left with her crying and being sad. But you kind of got to remember, like, you got to snap out of it. Like, this poor fucking guy over here, he's got, like, no hand. He's got no fucking...
he may be a stalker
no leg.
and the beard boss. But, yeah, he has just saved your life.
You need to call an ambulance.
Yeah, you need to really... But, yeah, and then it's instant bang. Cut the credits.
Yeah, it's
like,
just hard end.
Hard
Done.
end. We've had both the movies this week are hard ends.
They are.
Hard enders. So we're have we got any tidbits? So we're going through all our tidbits. James Wood, Mel Gibson, John Lithgow, Richard Dreyfuss, William Dafoe, John Travolta were considered for the role. Were all considered for the role. Mel Gibson?
Yep.
Imagine him. I wonder what he'd fuse as. He'd turn into like a big racist.
Yeah. Oh, he is a big racist.
Might become his worst enemy and become half Jewish.
Maybe.
Oh dear.
Maybe.
Yeah, he might not have noticed a Jewish man in the pod with him, and then that's what that film would be. Oh man.
They didn't actually want Jeff Goldblum for the role because they wanted Jeff Goldblum is an interesting looking fella, to say the least. So they were a bit concerned that they wouldn't be able to do the work around him because I think they wanted someone with an easier face.
An easier face, yeah.
But I'm like,
Mel Gibson's face is huge.
It is.
It's like a wall. He's like a wall.
Yes.
Walking around with legs and arms.
Yes.
Like, he's a weird looking dude. But I don't know. I think they struck gold with Goldblum in this. Like, I don't think this film would still be like John Lithgow.
Although I must say as well, because Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis were dating. So they were dating when he got the role, and then she wanted to be in it. So he's like, hey, put her in it. But the chemistry between them...
It didn't seem like they were actually...
Like, it did not seem like... Which is probably why they're still not together to this day. But it just didn't really seem like they were a couple or even interested in each other at all.
Yeah.
Like, the interaction and the feelings, the emotions were there. But, the scenes where they're, like, getting intimate, I'm like...
Yuck, yeah. I like that her look. She always looks shocked.
Yeah.
She's always like...
That's just her face.
Oh my God. It's like, yeah, it's like, a car crash is just happening in front of her.
It's like, I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
What is it? His vomit is like honey, eggs, and milk.
Yeah.
I mean, that would taste pretty good.
Yeah.
Like...
Maybe.
It's like eggnog. Put a little
bit of brandy in there.
Bit of brandy in
You'll
there.
be
You got
right.
a Christmas treat.
It's totally fine.
So what did you give this one?
So I gave this an A. It is awesome and everyone should watch it.
I also gave it an A. I don't have my sound effects set up today, so
No, that's
just
fine.
imagine like A. Yeah. Beautiful film, awesome film. Everyone should watch this film. Like, even if you're not a horror movie fan. Then again, my mum was watching it with me, and she was like, "This is gross."
Yeah.
Then I watched this and the second film with my mum with her because she came and helped me with my baby this week, and
Yeah.
this poor mum had to sit through all this gross shit.
I'd say I love it when my mum comments on the films that she has seen, and she's just like, "This film scared the pants off me."
Yeah.
Oh, mum, you're so cute.
We always get Braden's dad like mentioning stuff.
Yeah.
On like the Dino page, and now he started mentioning it on like the Greenlight page, like because like
Nice.
Braden works at my work now as well.
Yep.
And so you get like Dixon Senior coming in with like just a cheesy line like, "That new work you got is great." And now let's move on to our second film.
All right. So our next film, we checked out A Quiet Place from 2018, directed by John Krasinski, screenplay by...
Kransky.
Not Kransky. Hater Kransky.
You don't like Kransky?
I don't like Kransky.
What do you mean?
Nah, they
Get
just...
out.
No.
Do you like Cabana?
I do like Cabana. I'm not a huge cheese person, and when you put Cabana, cheese, and pastry together, it is a disaster for my body.
Well, that's a That's not theoretically a Kransky. The Kransky is just a sausage.
Oh,
So, like, that is like I don't know what, that's a snag in a bag.
it's like a cheese Kransky.
You know, we digress.
We have digressed. Anyway, screenplay is by Brian Woods, Scott Beck, and John Krasinski. It's starring John Krasinski, who we all know from The Office. And I think he's on some show where he plays some guy called Jack Reacher. I don't know.
I actually didn't know him at all.
Really? Have you never watched The Office?
Which one? The UK
American one?
No.
You've
I've only
never-
watched the UK one.
Oh, Dan, do yourself a
Really?
favour. Watch The Office. It's so good.
This is always that thing of I just considered I'd already watched it because I'd watched the UK one.
No. You power through the first season because it's not.
See, that's that thing
strong.
that I can't handle these days. People are like, they don't just say, oh, you can watch one episode like until you get into it. Now it's like, oh, get through the first 2 seasons, and after at season 3 it gets really good. I'm not going to put 24 hours into something before it gets good.
That's fair. Season 1 is still good, but it really finds its footing for season 2. Steve Carell becomes slightly less cringy. Slightly.
Is that better?
It is better, yeah, but it is good. So check that out. I want to hear that you've started to watch. The film also stars Emily Blunt, who is you'd probably know her from Edge of Tomorrow.
She was the other lady, yeah.
She was also
as the lady character. The whole story got ignored in that film because the original book, All You Need Is Kill, is set 2 stories. One is the guys and one is the girls.
Yeah.
And the girls' story just wasn't really in it.
Well,
can't take time away from old Tommy Cruise.
No, of course not. She's fantastic. And funny enough, John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are married in real life, and it really works for them in this film. It had a budget of around $17 to $21 million, and it grossed $340.9 million.
We gotta say, that's an achievement
That's a fuck.
for a horror film.
It's a cracker of a film.
That's like real money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a huge amount of money.
That's like studio, like, so good for a studio. I don't know what studio made it. It's probably just something. I can't remember.
Like Paramount.
Oh, they're fine.
Yeah.
I was kind of wishing it was a small studio. Maybe
Yeah.
But yeah, that's big, good money, man. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I didn't know. I mean, I saw it, and I hardly ever get to the cinema. But I remember we got tickets for work. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll go check this one out. I like my horror films, and I love like that cinema experience was so different from any other cinema experience I'd had. So, I'm gonna let you kind of take the lead on this one.
That's fine. Yeah, it was really funny. So when we saw it at the cinema, because I hate going to the movies nowadays because people are just so inconsiderate. And loud. And so we're in this silent film. Yeah, I hate the youth of today.
How dare they have
how dare they be young?
How dare they have more time than me on this world? I know more than them.
But we're in the first 10 minutes of this film is happening, and let's face it, the first 10 to 15 minutes of this film is crucial viewing.
Yeah.
And this group of kids, and when I say kids, they were probably in their late teens, early 20s. And they come walking in with their popcorn and their sound making shit and sit down and are just like being dickheads. And I'm just looking.
Oh, no. Because this film, I had the opposite experience. This film started in the cinema. Everyone was like talking and credits. The film started and then no one made any sound for the whole film. And you could hear it. No one wanted to make any sound. They were like, holding their breath.
Just gonna hold my breath.
It felt like you put yourself into the moment of like, and we haven't seen this film. We're going to tell you why these moments happened.
Yes, let me get into it. So, if they hear you, they hunt you. A family is forced to live in silence while hiding from creatures that hunt by sound. Thanks, Letterboxd. Such a small but accurate kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we have no idea. There are small snippets throughout the film where if you're looking close enough and paying attention to what's happening around the character, they do kind of explain what is happening.
You don't need to know what's happening.
You do not need to know.
And what makes it good is that you don't know what's happening.
I like that they don't explain it.
So the monsters are there.
Mm-hmm.
The world is dead.
Yes.
There's no one hardly around anymore.
Nope.
There's newspaper clippings that are like, there's obviously some spots where people are, but like you just don't know. So you start the opening scenes is in the shop. It's all silent, super silent, no talking, and the family is just kind of moseying through the wares of the shop in silence. Straight away, you're just like, what's going on? Why is they do this stuff? And
well, it basically starts at day 89.
Day 89, that's right.
So even though it is day 89, it still looks like they've been, like, it's been desolate for longer than that.
That's weird. I thought that, the trees were way too big at some stage. 89, what is that, like 3 months? No, 2 months. Right, coming up to 3 months.
Yeah.
I suppose. I just feel like the trees couldn't outgrow, the world in 3 months wouldn't go to, like, to the Last of Us style.
No, not quite.
But it doesn't matter. So we see we get introduced to the main family. You got a mum, you got a dad, and you got 3 kids. You got like the eldest daughter who is deaf. Then you have 2 younger brothers, so slightly younger brother, and then a quite young brother. I reckon he's
small.
3, 4 years old. I don't know how old children are.
I usually just be like, they're about that age.
Yeah, they're about this high. That's how old he is.
Sure.
And the kid is like, he's looking at toys and stuff in this department store. They're really showing that you can't make noise. Like, you can't even like make loud footsteps. You can't do anything. And he finds like a toy space shuttle, and like, Dad's like, he slowly opens the back of the space shuttle and takes out the batteries. The space shuttle that makes noise.
Yes.
Like, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
And, just like a noisy toy that has flashing lights, which you can't have.
No, ever.
Yeah.
Even when we live in a sound community.
Exactly.
Don't have them.
Yeah, you don't want them. It's like a royal show toy.
Yeah.
Anyhow, they leave the shop, and you see the kid pick up the batteries on the way out. And you're like, I know what's going to happen here. You don't even have to like show me the next 20 minutes of this film.
Yep. Oh my gosh. So, of course, they've got sand. They've laid sand throughout the town, leading from the town back to their farm. So they're walking along that because, of course, it's not making any sound. Walking on sand is silent.
So they'd already established the farm at this point.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty certain that that's their farm. That's their home.
Because I got from it that they were just vagabonding around. And they'd just come across a farm later on because it cuts to, like, day 187 or whatever it was, like, and but so they were out on a food run from the farm.
Yes.
And they because I was like, man, is the whole world laid sand down?
Yeah. No,
they lay sand down so they don't make noise when they walk. Like, and they don't wear shoes in this film.
No,
because you don't want to wear shoes because it crunches
that
stuff.
makes sounds.
Makes too many sounds.
Yes. So they're basically walking
back
from
home.
They're walking back home, and it's the standard, the dad's in the front because the middle child's sick. That's what I got from this. They were there because he needed some sort of
medication or something. Yeah.
So they're going through all this medication, like they've given him something that he's carrying him home. And then, of course, you see the smallest kid trailing behind with his little, the little rocket that he took from the shop, and he's like flying it around, doing what kids do. And then,
but then what makes it really cool is it cuts to the deaf girl whose hearing aid is broken, so she's just flat deaf.
She's just flat out deaf.
It's like broken throat thing, and you can't get it fixed. So there's no society anymore. You see from like looking at her, and you see the kid in her background, and then you see then it cuts to the dad, and then you hear the space
all
shuttle
of a
come
sudden
on and
it
go
goes
like,
off.
Doing little like toy sound. And the dad, like, in fear, and he looks around, and you see the younger girl who's deaf, but she can't hear it because it's behind her.
Yep.
So she's just looking like, what's wrong? And you just see the dad just piss bolt to the kid, like, because he has to stop it before, you don't know at this point what's going on or why they have to be quiet. And then what happens?
No. So he's still running, and this kid's just still in this spot, and you see this creature. You don't get a good look at it, but it's like belting through the forest, and just as he's about to grab him, the fucking creature grabs this kid.
It doesn't even grab him. It just erases him.
It's like
it goes poof, past like whoom, because they're really quick, and the kid's just gone. He's gone. He doesn't exist anymore.
He's gone.
That's it. You're out. You're gone. And you're like, what was that? Because you can't see what this creature is. and they do a really good at like kind of keeping them away from our sight, which I really liked.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that because the idea of it is not what they look like, it's what they do.
Yeah.
Is what the
It's
fear
what they
is.
are, what they do.
So I was like, oof.
So that's the start of the film. This is like the first, it's intense. And the fact that they killed a child at the very beginning of this film just sets it up straight away.
Yeah.
Like, this is okay.
See you around, kid.
So they jump to day 472, which is 383 days after the kid's death. And you can...
It's like a year.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically.
And you basically can tell that there is a strain on the family.
Yeah, they've moved on, but they haven't moved on.
The young girl blames herself because she was really the one that gave the kid the rocket. The dad's like, you can't have it, in his own silent way. And she gives it to him.
Yeah, that's right. The dad didn't let him have the toy at all, but she gave him the toy without the batteries.
And then he took the batteries.
And then the kid took the battery, so it was kind of like...
Yep.
Her fault. Kinda, not really. Like, she didn't know the kid had the batteries.
No.
Like, why shouldn't the kid
why
have
would you know that? Like, it should be fine. Like, there's a toy that has no batteries.
Yeah, so she's...
Safest thing in the world.
She's depressed. The young girl blames herself.
Yep. And then
everyone's kind of like... Everyone blames. Yeah, not blames themselves, but everyone's like, it's just fucked.
Yeah, the relationship's strained because she thinks that he doesn't love her anymore because it's her fault. So I just want to hug her. Like, throughout this whole film, all this shit's happening, and I just want to give her a hug and be like, it's okay. Not that you can hear me say that to you, but it's okay. You're okay.
And what we haven't realised is no one's spoken in the film yet.
No.
Because the girl is deaf. Their family knows sign language. So they speak all in sign language. But there is no subtitles throughout the whole film for the sign language.
No.
And I thought, maybe the subtitles are supposed to be there. So I downloaded a sound file, a sound file, subtitle file.
Yep.
Popped it in there, and there's nothing. And then, you looked it up later, didn't you?
Yeah, so basically they didn't want to have any kind of subtitle for the sign language because you should be able to convey what is kind of happening just from the tone and the emotion that's sort of being carried through the characters.
I thought it was really good.
So the fact that he's sitting there and he's holding out this hearing aid implant, because that's what he does in his basement, is he's just working
the dad,
on these implants for her, and he's just like, oh look, I've done another one, and she's basically like, no, it's not going to work, they never work. And that's just what you pick up from the conversation.
Yeah.
So
and sometimes they mouth some words and stuff like that.
Like, if you listen really closely, so like I was watching it on my laptop with headphones, and you can hear them sort of whispering what they're saying. Yeah. So it's like, you'll be fine.
But but also cuts to the mum doing a bit of laundry, and she's pregnant. And I'm like, don't get pregnant.
It's the worst thing you could have done. Get pregnant.
And then like straight away you see the baby, and my mum was like, how's she going to have the baby?
Yeah.
Like, she did a Liz on me, like, just asked all the questions straight away. And it's like, how do you make a baby not cry? You can't not have a baby going. And I'm like, Mum, just watch.
Just watch the film. They explain it.
I'm got someone out the back using a drill. I'm just hoping no one can hear that.
If you can, just go with it.
Nah, that'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
So yeah, she's pregnant, and then you're getting all these ideas about how are they going to get through this, how are they going to do that. And then, but their house is also decked out in all these cool like ideas. I thought, this is where the film really starts to shine. It's just like all these ideas on how to be quiet and all the things you do. So they have a whole lighting system set up around, because the monsters can't see anything. They have no eyes whatsoever. So you could shine a torch in their face, they wouldn't even know you're there.
That's right.
So they have a lighting system around the farm. Different color lights mean certain things. So if you're out and about, you can see, oh look,
everything's okay.
The farm is the farm's everything's okay. Or they'd probably have a whole bunch of different coloured light, because the lights can change colours. They have stuff like in certain parts of the house, like painted floorboards that you can't tread on, because
I think the painted floorboards with the little bits where they were painted where you can tread. Yeah.
Yeah, so that aren't squeaky. That's the point of that's how crazy these monsters can hear.
Yeah.
And then did you get a Last of Us vibe from the dad?
Yes.
Joel from The Last of Us.
It's so strange because John Krasinski, if you do watch The Office, like he has a very expressive face.
Does he have a beard in it?
He does not have a beard in it. So all of a sudden the internet, the ladies of the internet, he's now Daddy Krasinski.
Daddy, like a bear.
Yeah. So he's gone from this sort of dorky guy in the office to he's buff as shit with a beard, and he's like quite a handsome guy. Beards make every man better, I think, apparently.
Well, I've got a beard, so case in point.
Case in point, Dan.
Yeah, exactly. So I got to 20 minutes into the film, still no talking.
No.
And I was like, surely they're going to talk sometime.
No.
And I think that's what kept me so intrigued, the fact that they hadn't said anything. So, you know, and then it cuts to them, you know, they're in the house. It's just a bit of daily life. They're playing Monopoly, which is the worst game.
Fucking game. I had that in my notes. It's like, it's not a quiet game. People get mad.
It's not even a fun game.
No.
There's nothing fun about Monopoly.
No.
Why do people have... Yeah, there's all these versions of Monopoly you can buy. I'm like, don't.
It's the game you play when you want to ruin a relationship.
Yeah, it's a game that you play when you're... Yeah. Once again, I apologise if anyone can hear the person that's decided to use a drill next door.
Well, it is Saturday morning.
It is true. We shouldn't have done it today. So, and then they're playing Monopoly and they knock over a lamp, and then the dad gets a gas lamp.
Yep.
Gas, is that what they are?
It's a gas lamp because
An oil lamp. Oil lamp.
Yeah, because the floor sets on fire.
Yeah, the floor sets on fire. The dad runs over with a rug and whacks it down. He realises, oh fuck, what am I doing? I've just made some noise, and then you hear something jump onto the roof, and you're like, oh, they're here. And then they look out the window, and it's just some raccoons.
Fucking trash pandas. Because she's pregnant, because he's taken on like the world of like everything that's happening. So there's this scene between them, like they're dancing and listening to some music on headphones. It's such a nice
mum and dad. Yeah,
like it's such a nice scene because there's a lot of chemistry between them, unlike Gina Davis and Jeff Goldblum. So it's just such a nice sort of.
They seem like they really actually like each other.
They do, and it's kind of like, despite everything that's happening, despite all the stress and the fear, that they're still like a family unit, and there's still a lot of love there, which is nice.
Yeah, they seem like genuinely real, and you genuinely cared about them.
Yeah.
It's one of my kind of favourite movie tropes where you just follow. It's been a huge cataclysmic event, but you just follow one small amount of people, which I think always works really good with film, especially horror films. Like one family, it doesn't matter what's happening in the rest of the world. Like if Michael Bay had done this, it fully just would have been like the breakout.
Here's the politics. Here's the this. Here's the that. Here's the scientist
that's going to fly the slow motion helicopter.
And then there's going to be the family. Yeah, with the main guy.
World War Z is a classic example.
Yes,
kind of like
there's a lot of going on in that film.
Like World War Z, you could have just done that as like just their family. Anyhow,
then it cuts to day 473.
473.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a jump.
Because this is like, so we can move the pregnancy along a bit more.
Pretty much. Yeah. So it's day 473. No, nothing has happened. So day 473, she's pulling out some washing and she's walking up the stairs. So she's got like, some heavily pregnant woman should not be doing this amount of carrying and walking upstairs.
Yeah, this is gold, this scene. She's
so
got a sack of potatoes.
It's basically like she's got 2 sacks of potatoes worth of laundry. She's walking up the stairs and it gets stuck. On something.
Which I was like, oh no, it's going to make noise.
So there is a super convenient nail placed in the middle of the stairs where no nail would ever be located.
Yeah, I was trying to work out why that nail existed. But it could have been...
It could have been on the side?
I figured it could have been that the stairs had broken and they'd put a plank underneath it and they nailed it up on there like to keep it thing, or put some soundproofing on it or something like that, and then they just because the nail was down. It was like, it wasn't threatening, it was nailed down, like pushed down, but her sack got caught in it and she pulled it up, it pulled the nail straight up. And I'm like,
that's gonna come back and bite you in the ass.
I was like, no,
that's coming back at you.
No. But I'm like, and then the kid and the dad, they go out, they've got like fish traps, so they eat a lot of fish, it shows that. Because they've got some fish traps, so they go to like the river and a waterfall, and then the dad speaks, and the kid shits himself. And he goes, "No, you can speak here because they're like under a waterfall. It's like making so much noise that it masks
this sound.
This is
drowns
38
out
minutes in.
sounds.
This is the first dialogue you've ever heard. Guess what happened? My subtitles popped up.
You're like, what the fuck's happening?
And I was like, oh shit, yeah, those subtitles. What are they? Like, I turn them off. And so he just kind of they have a moment where the young boy speaks to the dad and goes like, "You still love the daughter?" And he's like, "Of course I fucking do." She doesn't think she thinks you blame her. And I'm like, so they get that. They pretty much just progress the story along very quickly, which is nice. I was like, and it's fine. And like, he realizes that he didn't probably realize that she did. And he's like, "Fuck, I can't believe she's that." Like, and he's like, "Feel probably putting rubbish as a father."
You should probably tell her you love her at some point.
I thought the speaking under the waterfall was really cool, and they actually bring that kind of vibe up later on. So all the things they imply earlier on in the film, they kind of bring into the mixture later on, but they don't ham-fist show you it. Like, there is a bit later on where there's some water pouring down, and she moves behind the water. Yep. So the monster can't hear it. And like, if I hadn't had that waterfall scene, I might not have clicked that that's what she was doing.
That's right.
Done really beautifully.
Yeah.
But then on the way home, they come across this fucking old dude in the woods.
Standing there.
And he's just standing there, and they're like, face off, and because you can't make any sound.
No.
And you look down, and the old man has murdered an old lady, which you can only assume.
Well, has she been murdered, or has the creature gotten her? Like, I'm pretty certain they would have been foraging for berries in the woods, and she would have made a sound.
That's what. See, I thought he was a guy that had gone crazy because of having to be silent the whole time and had snapped and killed his wife. But I think maybe what you're saying, it's a good talking point.
Yeah.
Because, very interesting. I didn't think about that. Like, straight away, I just went to Cyril. He just snapped because he looks so distressed. But no, they don't think about it. He probably looks distressed because his wife, his only person he has in the world to communicate with, has been killed, and he's just standing there. And the dad, because I thought he went crazy because the bearded dad goes like, puts his mouth up to his finger
just
up
like,
to his lips,
don't do
like
it, don't do it,
and that's when he snapped. So I thought he'd been like told to be quiet for too long, and that's what made him snap.
Yeah, that would have been a better story. I would have liked to have seen that.
Well, that's what I took from it.
Yeah,
that's what I thought. But then the old man,
he just starts screaming.
He starts screaming because he just wants to commit suicide because he's like, obviously now that I know his life partner is being killed, and because the dad grabs the kid
and just runs,
and you see and he hides behind a tree, and you kind of see it. And this is where you first kind of get to see what the monsters look like.
You get a pretty good look. They look like the Demogorgons from Stranger Things.
Yeah, I actually thought they looked like the Lickers from Resident Evil.
Yes.
They're big fleshy masses. They have like kind of really muscular big front legs, which they can run fast. But those legs also have folded under praying mantis claws on them, which is kind of cool, which is why they can slash you and you just slash a bit. So I don't know. The good thing is they don't explain it because there's no explanation of why these creatures got it. No. They kind of remind me of something that could have come out of the mist. In the mist.
Yes, definitely.
Like they're very mist because they're fleshy, pinky, massy, muscly. They look like a shaven Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
Yep.
Kind of thing with long legs. So yeah, imagine that. A giant long-legged Staffordshire Bull Terrier with praying mantis legs on the front.
Yep.
And and not a dog's head.
No. Some weird ear head.
So then we cut to so that's stressful as fuck.
Yes.
And then it cuts straight away to her doing the washing and her fucking water breaks.
Yeah.
So she's home by herself, the fucking water breaks, and she's like, "Oh fuck, I gotta get down to the basement and change the lights."
Yes.
So to know what's happening. So she runs down to the basement and of course fucking steps on the nail. Straight onto it. And because she can't scream, she's just like...
Yeah. And in my mind, I'm like, well, that's a tetanus shot right there.
Yeah, you're going to die of tetanus. It was a very clean nail.
Yeah, well, I would hope so.
Yeah, except straight on the nail. It's pretty much one of the crazy... This whole scene, from stepping on the nail to this whole birthing thing that's happening, is one of the craziest scenes in a film because you can't make any noise.
That's right.
It was great for watching it with... Because my baby, I've said it before, like my wife doesn't like me watching the horror movies around the baby because the doctor specifically said don't have sounds of screaming or pain or torture around the baby. And then she's like, "Oh, this is all right because there's no sound in this film."
This scene's amazing. So of course she gets to the light, she turns them red which indicates.
She pulls her fucking foot out of the nail, which is then she's like limping with like the bloody footprint. Yeah. Turns the lights on, changes them red, which obviously means, I assume that meant...
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong, yeah. It's just something's wrong. Come back to the house.
Yeah.
So I think it's just red, danger, come back. Something's going on. Like, there wasn't a specific thing.
Yeah.
Because at this point, there's no monsters. It was just like that she was having baby. And she tried But then she goes to go back up the stairs.
And there's whoops.
As she's trotting on the nail, a fucking monster comes into the house. So you've got her on the stairs with a nail in her foot. Monster in the house. It's just casually in the house. It's just kind of like moseyed in. It may have heard like a slight bit of sound. Because these things you assume they can hear from like, 10 Ks away. They can hear you. And they move so quick. And there's lots of them apparently.
Yeah. They're everywhere.
So, you got her nail in her foot. Them out, like, coming back. Monster in the house.
Let's just stop for a moment and appreciate the fact that this poor woman, not only has she now got a nail, like, wound in her foot, she got the labour pains.
Yeah, so she's labouring. She's like, there's bits where she has to, like, stop, and it shows her, like in the pains, the thresholds of the cycles coming through of what are they called? There's like they come in waves, like the labour pain waves are coming in, and she just has to do it silently. Like she goes onto the ground, crouching.
You see
blood like starting to come out of her juju. Well, you assume that because it's on the ground.
Well,
and then she can't get to wherever they'd planned to have the birth. Because she's like trying to, like, without making noise, she's trying to avoid this monster. She does a really cool thing where she puts an egg timer on across the room first because she knows the monster's in the room. So then she goes and hides. And then when the monster comes down the stairs, which is cool, where you really get to see what it looks like and it's wicked.
Yeah.
The alarm goes off, which makes the monster run towards the alarm and then gives her an opportunity
to get
back up the stairs. Which the nail is still sticking out of.
She conveniently missed it on the way back up, which I'm kind of glad.
The monster didn't tread on it, which I was like, how did it miss that?
I don't think it could have. I think it had like a very tough skin because like there was notes up on the whiteboard of like, you can't kill it, how to kill it. There are no weaknesses for this. Yeah. It's not until later
we find out that plating on their face that can move off and stuff. And so she fucking just goes into the bath, and she's sitting in a bath with a monster fucking walking around. She's not allowed to, and she's actually starting to give
giving birth.
Silent birth she has to give.
She's giving birth. And the great thing, everyone has said that this whole sequence of her in this bathtub delivering this performance, she's visibly sweating. She's making faces. She's like breathing hard. And like, she does this scene flawlessly and they call cut and she's just like, right, what's for lunch? And she just snaps out of it so quickly.
Because she's an actor.
She's an actor.
And so the dad and the son, I think at this point, the daughter as well, I forgot to mention, she's bailed. She got so angry at some point in the film.
She wasn't allowed to go with them, so she's...
Yeah, that's right. So she bails and she goes and visits the kid's grave.
Yeah. Which is basically where he was killed.
Yeah, where he was killed. Yeah, basically. So she's walked down the road halfway to the town. So she's out the picture. The dad and the son are running home because they've seen the red lights, and they've got a protocol where if you're outside, there's bits you can go to, and they've got fireworks set up. So which obviously
like
when they go up, the monsters either run towards the firework or they just it confuses them. They don't know what's going on. And the fireworks go up, and you see it going up, and it explodes. And at that point, she just lets out this biggest scream. It's so satisfying. You just like her in the bath, the baby giving birth, and that's the point where she gives birth. Yeah. The firework goes off, and she's just like, "Aah!"
Like, had it have been like a second the wrong way, like that firework hadn't have gone off, she would have died.
Yeah. So, but the firework masks.
But it was
they've really drilled in at this point that you can mask the sound with other sounds, so they can't determine between two sounds. Yeah. And that was great. She fucking gives it. You don't see any baby getting born, which is great. I don't like seeing stuff like that.
Well, no one wants to see that.
Exactly.
It's the miracle of birth that no one wants to see.
Yeah, the miracle that's why they put a big blue sheet up so no one can watch it when giving birth. So she, the monsters fucking, they kind of run away or whatever. They run out of the house.
They go towards the sound. So she grabs, her husband comes in, finds empty bath with just blood in it. He's crying.
Thinks his wife has died. Quite sad because he still can't make any sound. Yeah. The kid is still outside. He runs
direct into a cornfield, and at first I'm like, why the fuck are you running into a cornfield, you dumb
The
kid?
loudest thing you could possibly do is run through corn, like hitting all the...
But it's to get to a safe spot, so there's a tractor. There's like a harvest thing, so he runs into that.
I thought he was running
there.
to the silo, which has a beacon on top.
Yeah.
They get there. And yeah, he runs into the cornfield and, like, full pelt runs flat on head into the tractor tire and knocks himself out. Probably the safest thing he ever did for himself.
Probably, yeah.
Then the girl's walking home and she sees his torch. This is all happening at night.
Yeah.
Sees the torchlight in the field, so she goes there, finds him. They have a hug. They go to the beacon, which is on top of a corn silo.
Yes, it's the fires of Gondor, really.
Yeah, basically, yeah, it's the fires of Gondor. Like, so they've got the thing where they can set a beacon. They set a fire on top of the silo to say that they're okay. But the dad never sees that, does he? He's like, because the dad's got a whole monitor.
Well, he's
set up.
trying to find where they are.
Yeah, he's got a whole security system with like 40 cameras all around the thing. But it did show how far away that was from.
Yeah.
Do you remember from the farm? It's quite far away. You're looking
far.
like, you know, maybe a K away. So maybe he couldn't see that in his thing. What do they call it? In his security surveillance setup.
Yeah.
But then he finds also the wife is she's not dead. She's in the shower. She's hidden in the shower. There's a really weird, and then he takes her out the house into another kind of bunker that they've made, and they've made a soundproof bunker.
Yeah.
And the baby starts crying. And then, like...
But it's crying just as they're getting in and about to walk down.
Into the bunker. So they get in there, and then, you know, as they close the door, you see a monster, like, look around the corner. Yeah. Like, fuck is that? And so the baby's crying. It's still pretty loud.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, it's fuck. Like, what are you going to do? And he puts, like, an oxygen mask on the baby. And I was like, what are you going to do? I thought he was going to put it to sleep.
Yeah, no.
As in, like, you know, gas it,
yeah.
like, as in, like, a...
Sleep time.
Sleep time. But no. He puts it... It's an oxygen mask. He's made a box, which is completely soundproof. They put the baby in the box and closed it in soundproof with an oxygen, which I'm like, genius. It's probably the only thing you could have done, like, in the situation you're in. So they've sealed the baby in another... So the room was soundproof, and the box the baby was in was soundproof, completely sealed with an oxygen tube leading into it.
Yeah.
Basically, crazy idea, but they had all the time to work it out.
So crazy.
I don't know why they just didn't live in this room, like do this to the whole like.
Well, that's where they lived. So they very rarely. So he worked in the basement of the house still, because that's where all the washing was done and everything. But they didn't live in the house anymore. They lived in this barn in this bunker.
Oh, well, that's where they live.
That's where they were living.
See, I was getting... Oh, and that's why... So the top part of it they didn't live in. So I thought they were in the top part the whole time.
No.
Oh,
no.
I missed that part. With old wooden houses, they all kind of...
They do, yeah.
So we go to that soundproof room. He goes out and she's like... She has this really weird conversation with him. I didn't quite understand what she was saying. Because they can talk because they're in the soundproof room. They work out that it works.
Mm-hmm.
She was like... She has a conversation about like... I gave birth, I was holding the baby in my arms, but then I wasn't holding it in my arms?
Well, because she wakes up. So I'm pretty certain, like, he's carrying her and a baby, and then she's just pretty much just, like, zoned out.
Do you know the conversation I was saying? And it sounded like she said, and I don't know if this is right, that when she's feeling bad about herself, because when she gave birth to the baby, and didn't pick it up and just went into the shower and dragged the baby by the umbilical cord into the shower.
Oh, fuck.
This is what it sounded like.
I didn't get that. I just thought it was something like
I had it in my hands. It was so heavy, but then I looked down and I wasn't holding anything, but I was hidden in the shower. And I'm like, is she trying to say that
she just...
Yeah. I don't know.
Swinging it around by the umbilical cord?
I don't know what that comment... And it was really... Unless she was just delirious.
Yeah, it's probably...
Which is cool. Like, very cool. But yeah, I didn't quite understand that. I mean, if someone out there on the Facebook understands what she was talking about in that scene, please put it in the thing, because I didn't get it.
Also, I'd like to point out that we are spoiling the shit out of this movie. So
we spoil the shit out of every movie.
I know. Someone commented on our Facebook. They're like, I should probably watch this before it gets spoiled. I'm like, we're going to spoil it.
Yeah, well, but this is basically a horror spoiler cast.
Yeah.
We should write that. The TerrorVision.
We will spoil everything.
TerrorVision horror spoiler cast instead of podcast.
Even if we don't mean to, we'll just do it because we get into it.
Yeah, we don't care anymore.
No.
Because this is made. That's why we do the homework, so people know what to watch before
That's right.
they listen to it. So, it's kind of what this show has progressed into.
Yes.
It's basically a spoiler cast. We
That's
apologise for that.
We're talking.
No, we don't.
I don't apologize.
No, we want to talk about the whole film, every part of it, every little bit. By the end of us talking about a film, you shouldn't need to watch it.
No.
Because you should have watched it already.
That's right. Done your fucking homework.
I'm going to write that into the start of the show, actually.
Yep.
Everything. We spoil the movie.
Yes.
So, where Dad goes out to get the kids. Kids are on top of the silo. They're having an argument. The kid falls into the silo. The boy into the corn, which and as everyone knows, silos kill so many people every year.
Yeah.
You sink into them. There's no footing. You just drown in them, which is weird. He starts drowning. The door falls off. She jumps in to save him. They're making a lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a monster in the house with the parents. The monster hears. There are a bunch of scenes that we've missed out where the mum was hiding from the monster as well. And
I think that's about to happen. So
first one was like the one where she coaxes it away with the egg timer.
Yeah. So then there's a scene because somehow then the area that they're living in, the soundproof area, is now flooded.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it starts flooding because the monster goes like crazy up the top and breaks all their water pipes and stuff.
Yeah.
So she passes out and then wakes up and realizes, fuck, the whole room's flooded.
There's a fucking monster in the room.
There's a monster in the room.
And then it's like, because the little baby box is just like floating
around with no lid on it as well.
Did it have a lid on it?
Oh, maybe it did.
But so she's trying to slip quietly into the water and the fucking thing must hear her. And it just sort of turns and just like Jason Voorhees is into the fucking water.
Yeah, it just like sinks down into the water and travels underwater so you can't see it.
And then of course she gets to the box and she's like, oh, it's okay, like I've got it, and it just sort of like pops up and you're like,
where you get a really good look at what the monster looks like.
Yeah.
So it's got like plates on its face, like armor plates, which move around, and it can open them up. And it shows that
it can hear.
Yeah, it can actually open its whole head up. So its whole head is an ear, like an open ear. And that's how they can hear so well. Kind of cool idea. It's a bit CG, but it wasn't that bad as CG. It didn't annoy me to the point because it did look very good.
Yeah, it did.
And I've got a feeling that at some points it wasn't CG kind of thing.
Well, they didn't know what the monsters were going to look like until after the film
so it definitely was CG.
Was done. So John Krasinski, aside from acting in it, directing it, he kind of like wrote the theme tune, sang the theme tune.
Yeah.
He was like the motion capture for the creatures at some point as well. So he was doing so much for this film. And then it wasn't until later on, while they were in like post-production, that they sort of were determining what it's going to look like. Which is very interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, doing the monster. I mean, I am a practical effects man, but I was fine with it for some reason in this film because I think it just looked so cool and such a weird idea. And so at this point, you see that they've got these armor plates that they can open up. So you go, ooh, they've got weaknesses.
So you got to open everything up because everything is just so secure and safe that even if you shot at it, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, very, very cool. So the dad's out looking for the kids. The kids are drowning in the silo. The monster hears them, and the monster kind of like comes down into the silo. But then I hadn't mentioned this before. Because the dad's been trying to fix up the hearing aid on this girl, it doesn't work. She's still got it on anyway, but it is emitting a frequency which. Like when the monsters are near her, it kind of gives her like a static, like high-pitched noise, which hurts her a little bit, but it hurts the monsters as well. They're like, fuck,
I don't like that.
I don't like that at all.
It hurts my ears.
But I don't think normal humans can hear this sound. It's like a dog whistle kind of vibe. So it's on a frequency that the monster doesn't like. So she's like, the monster bursts in, like goes into the silo, tries to attack them, but her hearing aid goes off and it goes, oh, I hate this, and it bolts and it bursts through the whole silo, giving them a convenient exit out of the silo. Which
Convenience.
Is fine. It works. They go home, the dad runs up, and then they realise that, like, there's a monster there. What? Why is there... What happens? The kids run to a car.
Yep, so they're running... for safety in the car.
There's like an abandoned car just on the side.
And then they're making sounds. But so he comes out looking for them, and then it turns out that he's got this axe, he's out there ready to fuck shit up.
Oh, yeah, he gets wounded.
And then it's on the roof, it comes down and it just fucking smacks him right across.
So it hits him with his razor arm
So
and kind
he's
of cuts
fucked.
his guts open.
He's fucked.
He's fucked anyway.
And then, of course, because the kids screamed about
Scream 'cause they
it.
see their dad. That's what happens. They
And
see their
then
dad
it
getting
goes
hurt.
and starts attacking the truck that they're
So
in.
the kids are trapped in the truck. There's a monster on the outside of it. The dad can see this happening. What else do you do?
Well, we lead into the most heartbreaking fucking scene in the film where I wasn't crying, you were crying, because she's looking at him and he's stood up and he then signs like, I love you and I have always loved you.
Yeah, showing
And
to her.
like then he just starts screaming.
As in committing suicide to save the kids.
Yep.
Because the wife has that really full-on talk to him like, you will protect our children. And it was really weird and full-on. Like, as in, like, it was basically saying you will sacrifice yourself if you need to for our kids. Which I thought was really quite a strange thing.
I think
I was like, she was asking a bit too much of him.
Because he doesn't spend a lot of time with them. So the time he has, he spends fishing, organising things. Basically, it's still protecting them, but in a completely different way. But he's kind of cut himself off from the family emotionally so that he can be doing all these things.
I think he cut himself off emotionally because of the kid dying as well, like, to deal with it.
Of course.
But yeah.
So, of course, he dies, and it's... Ugh.
Yeah, it's pretty full on.
It's like, it was a little bit heartbreaking.
Yeah, I cared.
Yeah, I cared. I was just, like, sitting there and, you know, Liz is flicking rubber bands at me, and I'm just like, oh, little... Here, right there. What's going on? What is this water coming in?
Yeah, it all builds up to this. They kind of like take the handbrake off the car, and the car rolls home conveniently.
Yes, fantastic.
And the mum comes out, grabs the kids. They all run into. They run somewhere.
They run back into
the radio room.
Yeah, into the radio room.
And she's like, "Don't tread on the nail." She actually says that, which was nice.
Yeah,
they don't tread on the nail. And a monster. The kid hides with the baby. In the same room, and then what do? They try to.
So she's got the gun. They know that they're going to come.
Yeah, they've got the shotgun. They're basically just
one comes in to the basement, and then of course the kid's headpiece starts going off, which then means that the monster's reacting badly, and you can see that it's starting to open up.
Yeah,
and then from that they're like, "This fucking thing's fleshy."
On the inside,
let's put some
because she's got a shotgun there, but that's the last result. She knows it's not going to work. But
well, the shotgun's going to work on 3 or 4 things. Her and the kids. Yeah. Basically, is what's going to happen.
And but then the young daughter, she pieces it together.
They figured it out
because they're just standing there quiet in the room. The monster's looking around. He can't see them. So they're just like. It's only a matter of time before they make a noise or it just bumps up against them or something, and it's like, oh, that's a person.
And that's it.
And but she works out that this noise hurts the monster, so she puts it into like a speaker that's in the room. So she puts her hearing aid onto the speaker, which is like an intercom. Yeah. And it plays the noise louder, and the monster goes, ah, fuck! And he's like, his head plates go fucking everywhere, and he's a mess, and he's like screaming and stuff, and he falls down dead. Anyhow, they're like, oh fuck, they work out. They finally realize, oh my god, we can fight them.
There's a weakness.
There's a weakness to these monsters. But then the monster does a typical horror scare, jumps up at the last minute, and she just instinctively, because all its plates are off, she shoots it in the head with the shotgun.
His fucking head explodes.
His head explodes.
Has a Brundlefly explosion.
Exactly. Double shotgun.
Yeah.
Very similar themes. Yeah. Weird. Yeah. And then, but she shot the shotgun. The shotgun is a death warrant, because then that's enough noise, and it brings them all. Like you see on the cameras, on the surveillance
They're
cameras.
all running towards them. And then, of course, like, it has one of the most badass endings, because this kid's picked up literally all of these, like, hearing aids that her dad has been working on. She's got them in her hand. So she's about to put them on the thing, and then the mum just stands there and just cocks the gun.
Yeah, no, she gets the hearing aid as well and puts it onto the loudspeakers, which is like, because they would have had a speaker set up all around the house to track them away in case they need to. So they've got all these like megaphones around, I assume, and so they're about to just lay down the sound. Yeah, goes to the mum like
cocks the gun,
cut to credits. And I'm like, exactly.
Look, yes,
yeah. Don't need to show anymore.
We're like, this woman nothing. This woman, I wouldn't want to take her on. So
She
this
just
woman has
fucking
just
gave
like
dry
she's
birth.
fucking she's given birth. She's fucking stepped on it now. She's just watched her husband die.
She is.
She's lost her kid. She gonna fuck some shit up.
She's found your weakness. You're fucked.
You are fucked.
But yeah, and it goes to that, and great film.
Cut to film.
A for me.
I gave it an A as well. Like
We got
this,
double A's.
We did.
Today. It's quad A. We all
we
gave
are quad A.
quad A. So two massively enjoyable films. I've forgotten how much I liked this film.
Well, I hadn't watched it since it had come out at the cinema.
Yeah, neither had I.
So this was kind of like a nice revisit for me.
Yeah, and they're doing a sequel.
Well,
of course, they're doing a sequel.
Yeah, so
considering how
there's
much
a
money it
sequel
made.
which I don't really.
It went into COVID hell.
Yeah, it went into COVID hell. So they're like, no, this needs to be experienced at a cinema. We're pulling it. Like, I think it was ready to go.
Yeah, I think
now,
it was
of
one of those
course-
ones that had the catwalk and everything had been done.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
But then, of course, you don't want to release it this year at all.
No, it's
So
a weird
it's just
one.
like next year.
Are you sure it hasn't come out? They didn't release it digitally?
No, because they said that they didn't want to. It needed to be seen in cinemas.
Right.
Everything else is getting a digital release. The Craft.
The Craft.
Fucking hell.
Is that a remake of The Craft?
Yeah, they've rebooted The Craft. The trailer dropped on Friday or Thursday, and it just looks like hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
And of course, that's not going to cinemas. That's just going direct to digital.
Probably would have done that even if COVID hadn't happened.
Probably. By the
Alright,
looks
so
of it.
let's move on to horror news. So each week, me and Jen take you through the horror news you need to know about. Welcome to Horror News.
It's a treat watching you do that in person.
Yeah, live werewolf. It's how we go. We have 3 articles on the news list today.
So it looks like Zac Efron has landed a role in the Firestarter remake.
Ooh, is he replacing Drew Barrymore?
Yes, definitely, because Drew Barrymore is on to bigger and better things. Also,
but is he
she's
Drew
an adult.
Barrymore's character?
I don't think he will be Drew Barrymore's character because he's too old.
He's not the Firestarter.
He's not a Twisted.
Didn't they do Firestarter recently? Oh, no, it was Carrie. They remade
did
with the
Carrie.
girl from Kick-Ass.
Yeah, I liked that movie, and I'll defend that movie
Till the end.
till the
This
end.
is on iHorror.com. We've worked this out. So Zac Efron, what's he from?
So most people know him as the dickhead from High School Musical.
What, is he a baddie?
No, he's not a baddie. He's just a typical dreamboat kind of guy. He was in the Baywatch movie, looking very
yes.
brown.
Yeah, I know him. Yeah.
And he's in the extremely wicked, shocking, and vile. That's not the name of the film.
Oh.
It's basically the name of the film. He plays Ted Bundy. So that was the first.
He's a
film.
good-looking Bundy. That's what Bundy.
He is, because Bundy was a bit of a chameleon. He was able to sort of change how he looked. Like if you go and look through all of Bundy's mugshots, they're so different.
I wonder why.
Don't know.
Was he like trying to be different people?
No, I don't think so. It's just like a beard. A beard changes everything, as we've.
He had like phases. He's fully into fashion.
Yeah.
Lasers like,
You know.
big belts are in.
I make sure to wear my big belt when I get arrested for hacking a lady's head off.
Yeah, and then he's like, ponchos or capes. Capes are in. They're all women's fashions. He wouldn't have worn them anyway.
So based on his recent documentary series on Netflix, Down to Earth, where he goes around traveling and being Zac Efron without a shirt, which has been given rave reviews, probably because he's without a shirt. So now he's going to be in this film, which is produced by David Blum. You know, as we know, Blumhouse Productions.
Yeah, Blumhouse. And Weed Road Productions.
Ooh.
What is that?
I don't know what that is.
Well, you're talking. I'm gonna say that.
So there's no word as of who is what character Zac Efron's going to play. There's not a huge amount of information as of yet, but we will definitely see. There's like 2 primary male figures, which is Charlie's father Andrew and a hired assassin John. So Yeah, absolutely no information of this yet, but I think the hype train will definitely come in if Zac Efron's going to be in another horror film.
So, Weed Road Pictures have done stuff like I Am Legend, The Dark Tower, Constantine with Keanu Reeves.
So nothing good.
Hancock, The Losers, Starsky and Hutch. Jonah Hex, that little diddle.
So nothing good.
Mind one of them.
Okay.
I didn't mind I Am Legend. Made me cry because of the dog scene.
I haven't seen it because there's a dog as a lead role and I don't want to watch it because I know what's going to happen to the dog.
They did Titans. Titans TV show.
Or.
Oof. But yeah, anyhow. But they're with Blumhouse. Blumhouse is good.
Yeah.
He'll work it out.
You know.
It'll be like, cool.
They're doing shit.
36-year-old star. He's old.
Yeah, I know.
He's getting there.
He is. He's a pretty man. Blue eyes. So that's pretty much what's going to happen. More news to come. We'll keep an eye on that one.
I wonder if they'll just get like a no-name girl to be like the girl.
I think they will.
It's always the best way to do it.
I don't think not that I really pay attention to child actors at the moment, but I don't think there's anyone really.
A lot of child actors are in horror films.
There are, but
the kids
do
from,
we really have
the kid
any?
from Hereditary? Like, she's crazy good.
She's an e-girl now.
E-girl me.
That's like internet something. I don't know. Fucking, it's a thing.
Is that like a Dexter?
I'd hope not. She's young. But yeah, she's like an e-girl now.
Is that like a Disney kid?
No.
Oh.
No. It's weird. I was not happy to read that.
Like an e-girl influencer kind of person, like fully into TikTok and crap like that.
Yeah.
Oh well, that's all right. They'll have TikTok people will have their couple of years.
Yeah.
In the limelight.
Good luck to them, and then they'll burn through all that money that they might make and have to get real jobs and wonder what that's like.
They'll get on to the next thing. TikTok does pay pretty good superannuation.
Yeah. It's shaping your
future. You gotta keep
future.
working forever. You have to be like 98, still doing, you're like, oh, look at me, now I'm in different clothes to music.
I'm doing a dance.
Yeah, dance man. Oh, no, I'm dead.
Everybody look at your pants.
I died poor. Cool. What's
That's my understanding.
So I just don't care about Zac Efron. I'm just like, let's just go past that.
That's fine. So moving on to our next lovely story. So we fucking called this a couple of episodes ago.
Yeah, man.
So Trick or Treat director Michael Dougherty is directing a series adaptation of Clive Barker's Nightbreed.
Oh, yeah, they can go deep onto bloody Buttonface now.
Yes. So I'm really hoping that there is, because that was the storyline that I actually cared about the most.
Buttonface? Yeah, I know. What was his name? I've lost it now. I've lost it. I can't remember his name.
No, that's fine. Button-face man. It's totally fine.
The psychiatrist slash...
Dr. Decker.
Dr. Decker, that's it.
Dr. Decker.
I reckon, they can go... And they've shown him as the main picture as well in this
because
article.
he's the fucking draw card of this whole film. I
reckon they should settle down on what the Nightbreed people look like.
I think so.
Just make it a little bit less...
Well, like I
cheesy?
said in the episode, like it just seemed like it was one of those sci-fi special effects series where it's like everyone's working on special effects in a competition and this is what we all came up with. We'll choose the winner.
Or it just seems like you go into the effects makeup team and they're like, okay, everyone gets to design a mask. Go.
Yeah, that's
then
right.
They're like, I made this one. It's a porcupine.
And they've all come back going, I don't have time for this, but my kid drew this. Can we use that?
Yeah. Yeah, that was definitely for some of them, eh?
For sure.
The Sonic the Hedgehog girl. Yeah, with the porcupine spine. But no, this is going to be...
Yeah, so the quote here is, it's exciting after 30 years to go back to these characters and find out who's still speaking to me, who wants their story told. My tongue isn't in my cheek when I say that as when I start a piece, it's listening. The writing is a piece of listening. I've always said I was a journalist and that I was reporting on was the space between my ears.
Who said that?
That's old mate Barker says that.
Oh, that sounds like something he'd write.
Yeah. Couldn't just say something succinct, Barker. You had to put a
You
fucking...
couldn't have said, like, yeah, I fully wanted to do this.
Look, I'm excited because I fucking hated the film and I really wanted to see what's happening.
Why the fuck didn't they call it Cabal?
And I want a paycheck.
But like I said, I haven't watched the Cabal cut.
No, me neither.
We didn't even mention when we did it, did we? Like,
we didn't mention the Cabal cut, but everybody on our Facebook mentioned the Cabal
know.
cut. So I will vow to watch the Cabal cut at one point in my life.
I don't think I need to now. If they're gonna make
they're going to make a series.
They're going to make a good TV show. They should use the same mask as well. Like, 'cause it's fine.
They do.
It looks great. The way that the zip is off center and stuff.
Yeah.
And like they just nailed the mask.
I love the mask. So this is one that definitely exciting to sort of keep an eye on.
Yeah, because we mentioned this. They can go so deep with the story and because they had to skip over so much stuff with Midian and stuff like that, and the main characters and put in like like don't make it like over a long period of time. So like her pursuing this thing becomes an obsession with the girlfriend kind of thing. I can't remember. I can't remember his name, the main character.
That's fine.
Have fleshed out storylines for all the characters that makes sense, especially Dr. Decker. Like have it because he is a main player in the book.
Yeah.
So like have him as like, and as I said, I didn't even look this up. I think like the mask has its own persona and it has arguments.
Yeah.
Like when he puts it on, he becomes someone else.
That is what I want to watch.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily magic. It's just how crazy he is.
Yeah.
Kind of
well,
thing.
that works for me because, I mean, I like a creature feature, but for me, I feel that these creatures borderline more on fantastical than horror. So then I start to sort of lose interest in that because it's kind of like watching The Labyrinth and The Dark Crystal. Yeah. Like, I don't care. Yeah,
they're just like, they're not there to kill or anything. But I can give them a different spin on them a little bit. Like, have them more, I don't know. You could have them. You can go a couple of ways. You could have them more militant, that they're more really, really want to defend Midian instead of like they were quite peace loving in the movie. They're like, hey, we don't want this to happen, but the gods, want this or whatever. They're very religious. Could just make them that they're monsters. I don't know. I don't know what they'll do.
There's so much that could be done.
Yeah, you need to sit down and really flesh it out. And like, TV shows are the new good films.
But that's everyone's putting money into like Netflix, HBO, all of these things. Yeah. I mean, I think Stranger Things has been the biggest, driving force for this kind of thing now. Anyway, so.
Yeah, that definitely like showed like the people who like make adaptations of films into movies that it's way better to do it as a TV show because you can do all the parts of the film. You don't have to rush anything. You don't have to take anything out. You can even add to stuff if you need to.
That's right. And I mean, Clive Barker will clearly be in control or have some form of control over it. So if he sees fit, he can change it as he wants, and it's fine because it's his story. I
know that we always put Barker on a pedestal for like being a great. Like,
you put Barker on a pedestal.
Yeah, he's going to be great in that. But like,
I'm just like,
maybe him as a director, because he directed Nightbreed, didn't he?
Did he? He did. And
so maybe not make him a director, just make him a consultant, just to come on, and if they've got questions, he should be in the screen adaptation, the screenplay adaptation. That should be where he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That should be his part. Then he'll leave it up to the DOPs and the directors, and then be there in the props if he wants, like to help them, like visions of what they look. I still think they should use the actual Decker mask from the film, though.
I really hope they do.
The shining moment.
I'm gonna start tweeting about that. I'll be like, hey guys, Decker
make it happen.
Yeah,
make it happen.
Just leave that. That was like the perfect mask. So
good. I mean, there won't be as many mullets in this one. Unless
it's I don't know, mullets are back. Have you seen all these dickhead young people with their stupid mullets?
And it's not just mullet, it's kind of like shaved sides as well. Yeah, we got a bunch of kids.
It basically looks like that character in this Manningly from The Simpsons where he's like, I told you to shave those sideburns, and he comes and he's shaved them up and he's still got this fucking mullet. That's what they all look like.
I had a bunch of those because they're the new youths of the city. They've come in and I don't know. It would have started off as irony. Doing it once or twice.
And now it's fashion.
Then they saw some people that, they respected doing it ironically and they thought it was real, which is how fashion works. Anyway, I'm excited about this. I really want to this to be good, and I hope it comes to a free streaming service near me. So I don't have to find it otherwise.
No, I'm sure it will. One way or another, we'll find it.
He hasn't said like.
There's no real information yet. It's just been announced that this.
Well, Doherty's also working on the Hellraiser.
Yeah.
Is it Shannon Doherty's family member?
I don't think so.
Doherty's a pretty.
It's a common.
Is it a common name?
I'd say it is.
Oh. Never heard it twice now. Hellraiser, man, Clive Barker would be like, he's suddenly just relevant again.
He is, because they've got the Books of Blood series happening on Hulu.
Have they?
Have you not been paying attention to everything I post on our Facebook
Not
page?
everything.
I posted the trailer the other day. You need to watch it.
Well, I haven't read all the Books of Blood, but I've read a bunch of them. There's a really one I really like, The Yattering and Jack, it's called.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great story about this. So they're like monsters that are assigned humans, and their whole goal is to make the human go crazy but they're invisible. And he gets assigned. He's really good. He's called the Yattering. So he kind of lives in the house and he does stuff like make stuff fall off shelf. They can do stuff.
Yeah.
And he has to. But this guy kind of somehow gets wind of the idea that this thing is living with him and just won't react to any of the shit. And the one thing the Yatterings aren't allowed to do is the main rule: they're not allowed to touch the person. And it's just all about this guy just basically flipping it on this creature to make him get so frustrated that he touches the thing. And he goes way out the Yattering, like he makes like a turkey dinner come alive and the turkey run around the room and splatting. And he fully just loses all his professionalism as a monster. And I just really like that story.
Okay. Well, that does sound interesting.
Yeah, and that has the Midnight Meat Train on it, which they did a movie of and stuff like that, which I didn't watch because I was like, it was okay, the story. I'm like, what are you going to go do from there? It's just about a bunch of people who live on the train.
Yeah, it was. I vaguely remember it wasn't very good.
It was like street trash, but in the subway.
But yeah.
Hobo culture.
No, definitely check out the trailer on our lovely Facebook page. Oh man, I
can't wait, dude. Getting all our dreams.
Right?
Hellraiser TV series, Nightbreed TV series.
People are like
Books of Blood. Parkers are sitting back going, yeah, pour that money into my big chalice.
Because he's got, right? He's probably got a big old chalice.
And he wouldn't have fucked up this time.
Well, the technology's there, so the stuff that you couldn't...
like pushing rights away, selling rights away back in the day. When you were just happy that a film got made.
He's learned his lesson.
He's learned his lesson.
Yeah. So, our last story, Fire in the Sky. So everyone knows the 1993 Robert Lieberman sci-fi alien abduction film. It is finally getting a global Blu-ray release, and it's getting a drop in Australia.
Nice.
So it is...
it's weird to think that you don't think about... You just assume every film is on Blu-ray, but it's fully not.
It's not. That's why...
Especially horror. Heaps of it gets missed.
Well, this is why VHS collecting is intense for horror fanatics. So, you can go into a Sabres and pick up as many fucking VHSs of whatever film or genre, but VHS horror is hard to track because it starts to become so expensive because a lot of these films have never been released on DVD, on Blu-ray, and will probably never be released. So a lot of these films are starting to become relevant. And even DVD Blu-ray collecting
is real.
It is real. So there's we were doing an episode, I think it was From Beyond. And I was like, oh, yeah, I can't find I can't find this. Where am I streaming this? Okay, I'll just Umbrella Entertainment released the Blu-ray. It looks really cool. I'll track it down. Well, they don't produce it anymore. Do you want to buy it on eBay? Yeah, it's $80. Negatory. Luckily, I found a copy streaming on YouTube or something.
Just like a duddo.
Yeah, which is
screener.
Fine. I love a screener.
Someone getting up halfway through to get popcorn or go to the toilet. Do you remember those days?
Oh, I remember those days. So this is going to be a deluxe edition, which is going to have so many exclusive special features, including audio commentary, practical effects, interviews.
It's a practical effects documentary.
Pretty
called
much.
The Fear from Above.
Soundtrack, composer interviews.
The The Travis Walton Experience.
That's
my favourite band.
So actual conversations with the people that this was based on, and then the actors that were involved in the films. So there's going to be a limit. It's going to be a limited drop. So about 1,500 units will be featured with a limited edition slipcover with alternative artwork.
Alien abduction films are horror, aren't they? This is a horror film.
Look, this is going to scare the shit out of you. So yes, I'm going to consider this a horror film. Like I say, there is an umbrella. Horror is an umbrella, and there are so many things that fit. It
is true. It is a big overbranching umbrella over our lives.
So yeah, this is going to be, if you do want to pre-order this, because this information I got,
they're only making 1,500.
I know.
That's so not many in the world.
You can pre-order now, through Imprint. Yeah.
That's that they're making 1,500 of a limited edition slipcover alternative artwork version.
Which of course is the one that you're going to want to track down.
Well, if you look at the picture up the top here, the slipcase is the original art from the what's it called? Video, the movie.
Yeah.
And then the actual Blu-ray cover is pretty crap.
Yeah, it is.
That's
fine. So yeah, I'm definitely keen. I think I looked into it. It's only about $35 to pre-order. Comes out December 30th. So
I do like my alien abduction films.
You do.
It's a very small genre, that one.
It is.
It's surprisingly how for a while it went a bit crazy. Back in the mid-90s or whatever, everyone was calling that they'd been abducted and stuff like that. There were so many abductees, and then a bunch of films came out, and then it just stopped.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Right, and we get stuff like Altered and stuff like that, which is...
That was so good. I thoroughly enjoyed that.
The Fourth Kind was probably the biggest.
I think so, yeah. And there was that one with Felicity. Dark Skies.
Oh, no, that was great fun.
That was good.
That was heaps good.
Yeah.
That was probably my favourite one, actually.
Yeah.
Yep, that's my favourite. That's good. Good.
Yeah, so lovely bit of news this week. So it's very exciting.
We got to work out what we're going to watch next week. What is homework? Jen?
Do you know, I never have a tough time thinking of films. I always, pre-think. And up until about this morning, I'd chosen and rechosen films because I'm obviously it's October. At some point we're going to have to watch Halloween and then the 2018 Halloween. But I wasn't quite ready to do it at the beginning.
No, we definitely should do a Halloween special. Man, I wish we hadn't watched the third one.
And dun, 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 dun. 10 more days till Halloween. So I was racking my brain. I think I had a bit of stress brain this week, but then I decided we're going to do the Grindhouse double. We're going to watch Death Proof and Planet Terror.
So is this the single one which has both of them in it? There's two versions. There's three versions. So this is the one.
There's so many versions.
So are you just going to... Which one are we doing?
We can just do the singular ones.
Yeah. So, you want to do two? So two. Because we could test out just doing one film.
We could. Well, technically, this is one film.
Yeah, because I feel... Aren't they? Because the one film versions don't have the trailers.
Yeah.
Which are the cool
Which are the best thing. I actually... Because I am the one person who loves Death Proof. Actually, there's two of us. Me and my friend.
No, there's heaps of people like that. That's the really? Kurt Russell one.
Yeah. A lot of people fucking hate that. They're like, it's Tarantino's worst film.
No, Jackie Brown is.
I was going to say it's Jackie Brown. So I've got this on...
Then again, I haven't...
I've seen Jackie Brown
watched Once Upon a Time in Mexico. Oh, no, Hollywood.
Give it a watch. It's okay. It's not his shining standard of film, which everyone's saying it is, but...
I do have the Kill Bill. I finally tracked down a copy of the Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair.
Ooh.
I thought about doing that as one of our films. Is that a horror film?
Look, I would happily talk about that.
Because that's it
doesn't really matter.
That's a double film.
What do I
care?
That
could be a one film to watch.
Be.
But it's not really horror. It's an action film. It's action. But this is definitely a horror film.
Yeah. So, yeah, we can... Because I've got so many versions of...
Let's lock it down to just the single version that has all the trailers.
Right.
Then we get to talk about the trailers as well.
I love that.
And it is a test of just doing one film for the show. Because this film, I think we've already been going for 2 hours. We have definitely been going for 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm looking at my time and I'm like, I have to leave.
Okay, so Take us out.
All right.
So people out there, we're going to watch Grindhouse. It's basically just called Grindhouse.
Yeah, so it's...
Which is the double, like the shortened down version of both of them that have trailers. So it's one film we're watching this week.
Yes, so Death Proof, Planet Terror. It's going to be great. So, you have been listening to TerrorVision Horror Podcast with Dan and Jennifer. We are a podcast on all streaming services, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, anywhere good sound... podcasts, good Spotifys.
Good soundcasts.
Right? Good podcasts are found. We are also available on YouTube. Please leave us a comment, a thumbs up, a follow, a rating, a subscribe, all of the positive things.
Do it if you like us, because that actually helps us more than you think.
Well, I've seen a few people giving us some like lately, and I've been loving it.
I know.
We have an Instagram at TerrorVisionPod. You can also email us terrorvisionpod@gmail.com. Let us know what you want us to watch, discuss, if you hate us, if you like us, all of the things. Just communicate with us. So, yeah.
Most of our love comes on our SoundCloud. That's where most of our love is.
Most people.
But we don't have many people following us on our SoundCloud.
No, go follow us on SoundCloud. What are you doing?
Yeah, I know. But I think to follow on SoundCloud, you have to have a SoundCloud a membership. Or you can still just listen to it if you want.
Because I don't use SoundCloud. I use Spotify.
I don't use any of those. I just use podcasts, which is just on my iPhone, which is just a button that I press and to search for it and then subscribe to it. And I assume that's the same.
Probably.
Just do that. Just go onto your iPhone and hit podcasts and check us down. Anyhow. You can also check out Hack the Dino, which is a video game show that I do. Catch us live over on Twitch every second Friday at 7 p.m. The Casual Hangs. Chats about video games, nerdism, stupidity, the fun, just silliness, really.
Some guys being guys, talking about games.
Guys. Although I have been, I've been thinking about bringing in some ladies into the mix.
I think you should.
I think I should. Yeah, that happens. So check that out. And until next week, may all your dreams be nightmares.